The first question is absolutely correct. We are not going down a failed path. And I wanted to tell you something. This is a pattern. The guy that's here now that wrote that contract cost Texas A&M $70-something million. Right now, we got a $53 million liability. We are not doing that again. And you know what? I believe that we're going to find a great coach. I mean, maybe we'll let President Trump pick it. He loves winners. You know, I'm not going to be picking the next coach. But I can promise you, we're going to pick a coach, and we're going to make sure that that coach is successful. And we're going to make sure that he's compensated properly. And we're going to put metrics on it. Because I'm tired of rewarding failure in this country. And then leaving the taxpayers on the foot, to foot the bill. So yeah, absolutely.
This is Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry. To understand that Trump line, understand this.
Hey everyone, Governor Jeff Landry here tonight, wanting to thank the entire Turning Point family. Because tonight, unbelievable, over 1,500 people came to listen to Turning Point USA. Thank you, big shout out to LSU Turning Point. And so we're here on campus next to Mike the Tiger, and we're gonna put a challenge out to the LSU Board of Supervisors to find a place to put a statue of Charlie Kirk to defend the freedom of speech on college campuses. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if we can be the first campus to do it.
And this.
Well, look, I'm not calling out the players or Coach Mulkey. I support Coach Mulkey. My statement said that. I mean, look, I think this is a bigger question. This is a bigger problem for collegiate sports nationally and in Louisiana. I just sent out a letter to each one of our college boards telling them that those college boards should put in place a policy that respects the national anthem. The national anthem is as much a part of American sports as is the actual game that's being played. And the fact that there is not a policy that says, listen, these players are going to be out there and respect the flag and respect those that go out there and protect us is really disrespectful in and of itself. So it's unfortunate that LSU was not there at that particular time. Iowa was on the field. That highlighted the particular problem. And what we're going to do is work in Louisiana and say, listen, college athletes need to understand that in order to be truly united, in order to truly have civics and civility, we all need to be united under one flag and respect that anthem.
Well, I know so many of our viewers firmly agree with you, and so many of us, the America we know, you're at the concession stand, the anthem starts, you throw down your food, you run to find the flag, you chuck your hat, you do anything you can to stand up and be there when the national anthem is sung, whether it's a Little League game or March Madness or whatever it may be.
And this, he is performative.
First off, it's the second most ridiculous thing he said this week. The first was standing on campus and saying he wanted to put a statue up of somebody that doesn't represent the people of Louisiana, doesn't represent the players and the students at LSU, doesn't represent the executives that work there. That was the first dumb thing he said this week. This is the second dumbest, right? Amongst a lot of dumb things that he says.
LSU alum, ex-NFL safety, and current ESPN football analyst Ryan Clark shredded him. Basically, when this happened...
Breaking news from college football. LSU firing head coach Brian Kelly after 4 seasons, our insider Matt Zenitz confirms. The decision comes after the Tigers got crushed at home by Texas A&M on Saturday. The loss dropped LSU out of the top 25, and that was the final straw for LSU, which entered the season with national championship expectations, but is on track to miss the playoffs in each of Kelly's 4 years in Baton Rouge.
Landry took the reins to say, in the words of the late head coach Mike Leach,
because why not? Because, we're American. We love committees. Let's get us a committee. Well, who should be on the committee? Well, I don't know. This guy's a good guy. Let's have him on the committee. Well, I mean, there's people on the committee that don't even have remote associations with football, nor have they at any level other than being a fan. But you know what? Let's have them on a committee. Why not? And then, I mean, it'd be fun. We'd go to that resort. We could talk. We could hang out at dinner.
That essentially a committee is going to find the next head coach, led by the governor. Van Lathan would tweet, Jeff Landry is going to ruin the coaching search. And that's probably for the better of Louisiana. He is taking the power away from LSU's athletic director. Here's why Ryan Clark completely disagrees.
Scott Woodard, for whatever he is a man who got Jay Johnson, right? Last I checked, the 2025 Louisiana State University Tiger baseball team was in the White House getting the GAT recently, right? He was there in 2019 when it's one of the greatest college football teams of all time. He also was there when he said, you know what, we're going to go out and get Kim Mulkey, right? She brings a championship to the school with Angel Reese and with Flau'jae Johnson. And so to me, this is another situation of politicians poking their nose into things that they don't know about. And I honestly believe it was so he can get in front of a microphone and say, look at this connection I have to the president, and he likes to pick winners so he could placate to somebody he idolizes. You don't know nothing about football. There's enough going on in the state of Louisiana that needs to be fixed for its constituents. Well, I don't need you tweeting on Saturday night about what's going on in Tiger Stadium. There is too many issues happening right there under your nose that ain't got nothing to do with sports. Scott Woodard is a good man. Scott Woodard is a man that cares about LSU. In the greatest times, back in the day, he understood what it was like to be a part of a winner, and he's brought more winners back to the school. He didn't miss because Brian Kelly wasn't capable. He missed because Brian Kelly was no longer willing. Brian Kelly was no longer tapped in. Brian Kelly didn't care if the people of Louisiana cared about him, and he didn't care if the players knew that he cared about them. That's where it went wrong.
And he brings up some really good points. How all this went down, by the way, with Brian Kelly and Jeff Landry is nuts. Reports Yahoo. Some of the school's most prominent donors, key university board members, and athletic officials, even political figures, met over the course of several hours Sunday about the issue and are still haggling over the coach's $53 million buyout with his reps, which, by the way, they haven't reached a resolution on. On Sunday evening, sometime just before 7 p.m. Central Time, and after a meeting at the governor's mansion, decision makers decided Brian Kelly's time was over. The piece continues. The decision to axe Kelly extended to the state's top elected official, that being Jeff Landry, the governor of the state. Landry has significant influence over the university's highest decision-making group, the 14-member LSU Board of Supervisors. Jeff Landry has appointed 6 of them, by the way, and he's going to appoint 4 more next year when their terms expire. This is big. And even more nutty is this. LSU is looking for a permanent president currently. There are 5 finalists, but they pretty much need the approval of the board, and you guessed it, MAGA Governor Jeff Landry. Thus, with no president, Landry is like, yo, I'm making the calls here. One LSU influencer said, and I quote, "It's the most Louisiana thing ever that the governor is directly involved in a decision over a football coach." Let me be clear about something, and I want to go back to how we opened up this piece. There is a certain, very evil, Batman signal that Republicans try to do over and over and over again. And it is to try and get in the good graces, but also cling to the attention sphere that Donald Trump is desperate for. And what they want to show is loyalty. Loyalty, and that they will let him literally do anything. Anything, as long as they stay in the good graces, and maybe he even says their name. That is like a wet dream to some of these people. So when Jeff Landry says, Donald Trump could pick the next head coach for all I care, I'm sorry. It is performative, and if you are a fan of LSU's program, make your voice heard here, man. And if I were to have Landry on, he would say, "Oh, it was tongue in cheek," or "Oh, no, I meant it." But he doesn't. He doesn't. What does a nearly 80-year-old demented man know about football? We've seen from the interviews he knows little. Go back to what we covered with Bussin' with the Boys. He doesn't know anything. I have spoken to people who reported on Donald Trump when he owned the Generals and him sitting in a box misusing words that associate with football phrases. He doesn't know anything about this stuff, man. He might know a few teams and a few players. He doesn't know. I can't say it. I've been told not to swear. He doesn't know anything. But what Landry is doing is saying, Donald, look at me. Look at me. And if he were to say he's joking, I would say he's not. I think politicians should be held to a higher standard than tongue-in-cheek comments like this. Especially when Trump himself said that he would be running for a third term. Oh, I was just joking. Now it's a reality, and they want to amend the Constitution. Like, let's stop this. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.